Esteemed viewers, welcome. And I just want to let you know before I start this, I'm outraged. Just when you think these craven fascists can't get any worse, they do. And there are two items for the shame file before I even start this. So the first one concerns those serving in the military. Now, there's been an opportunity for decades for people coming to the United States. If they're prepared to serve in the military, it can be a pathway to citizenship. They have to obviously comply with certain time periods, and they have to have an honourable discharge. So you can't just rock up for 3 weeks and hope for citizenship. You know, you have to do your bit. People have done that. Now, these Republicans, they haven't changed the law because they can't change laws, we all know that. So they've sneakily just started discharging people who are eligible for the program, just sabotaging that line altogether, which is just not a good look. It is immoral to do that without a public hearing and further insight into what they're doing, but they have. The second thing, as part of their war on babies, so I can't find enough adjectives for these people, but they're heartless, gutless, scumbag, fake Christians have now taken the war on babies another step further. To appreciate this story, viewers, we need to go back a bit. History, 70s. So what was happening was companies like Nestle, who were producing baby formula, were hauled over the coals because they did huge promotions in developing countries saying, do what's best for your baby, don't breastfeed, give them our formula. So what would happen is women trying to do the right thing, or so they thought, would shell out for formula, but of course formula is very expensive. So to make it go further, they would use 1 scoop instead of 8 scoops. And there was a rash of malnutrition amongst babies in the developing world who were put on inadequate infant formulas. Not to mention, if things aren't completely sanitised properly, diarrhoea and other infections that kill babies. I thought that whole discussion had been had and was put to bed. Mais non. So just a day or so ago, the World Health Assembly had got together and Ecuador had proposed a proposal which was seen as a slam dunk, which they do every 5 to 10 years. Breast is best, and to push this message in the developing world. The United States delegation threatened Ecuador, threatened to cut them off from any sort of aid or military help or anything if they even put the proposal up. Ecuador panicked. They're very poor. They couldn't afford to run that risk, so they withdrew. And so these Republican representatives, who are obviously in the pay of these big companies that produce formulas, thought they'd won, only to find Russia backed the original proposal. So there you go. That's Russia having a little sleight of hand there. Russia would never normally step up to these sort of issues, but even the Russians were horrified. Need I say more? Really. So, bring on the blue wave. Now I'm hostile. I really want to know, when is Mueller's report coming out? Because those of us who have been following it, which is most of you guys, I'm sure in the fine print, understand the complications of this case, but also Mueller has taken on board a fresh new team of prosecutors, meaning he's getting close to handing his report in, and the prosecutions will go on independent of Mueller himself. I'm sure he'll be grateful for a lie down after all this. So let's see how Mueller is travelling And when is the report likely to be unleashed on America? So let's have a look. Okay, Mueller, how's he going? I'm just doing a warm-up 5-carder to see how Mueller's going, first of all. All right, he still has some concerns. I'm sure with what he has seen, it would be hard not to be overwhelmed himself in a way with the monumental scale of this task. So I'm not suggesting that he's failing under the pressure. I'm simply suggesting he has so much to do in a comparatively short period of time. Okay. So in the centre card, we have the 4 of Cups, an offer that you're not altogether happy with. I would construe this to mean, in Mueller's reading, he would actually like to take another year and really go to town on the endless tributaries of this investigation. He knows he can't on an instinctive level, and I'm sure there's been a lot of political pressure brought to bear, and he understands that to put America first, he can't really afford to do what would be a conventional investigation that often take 2 or 3 years. So he's not entirely happy, but of course he understands. So behind that, steady as she goes, temperance. His temperament is perfect for this job. He's run a steady ship. He has done a magnificent job of keeping on an even keel, of making sure it's integrated. In other words, anything that comes out in the report can be proven a dozen times over. That is the temperance card. Underneath the reading, how's he going? That's why I said what I said about the first card. He's feeling embattled himself, even though he doesn't show it, even though he understands, even though he's near the end. He is battle weary. I'm sure this is not a surprise. Okay. His concern, his intellectual concern, oh God, have I done enough? Please, God, or thank the gods, as they say in Game of Thrones, have I done enough? I have given it my best effort. I think there's enough. Please let this go forward and let me have my life back. Okay, coming out here, the 9 of Pentacles. Okay, this I think is Mueller upon delivery of the report. A cultured person, an intelligent person, an educated person who has, these are the resources, if you like, in this context, the Pentacles, money. This, I was surprised to read the figures on this. Of course, it's cost millions, but I think it's something only like 7.8 million or something like that when you think of the millions that get handed through these deceitful channels for the most slight and sort of nebulous of services. It's been comparatively cheap, this whole thing. He's run a tight ship. Okay, so back to the cards. So with this card, again, he's feeling a little bit overwhelmed right at this moment, but that's because things are at the pointy end, right? He commands the Falcon. He still has command of the whole show. So I'm going to put those cards back and ask, when is the report likely to be released? So we're all praying it'll be during the summer or not long after. We really don't want it to leach into next year, although, of course, the actual court cases will go on for years. But let's see, when will Mueller release his report? Mueller's report. Mueller's report. When is Mueller's report? Okay. Oh, in this, there's 3 threes. I'll tell you what I think that means in a moment. So, I'm liking the look of this. I must say I'm liking the look of this. Thank you. Okay, so the 3 of Wands, it's international news. It's about commerce and trade. It's about a successful person looking outwards. That's his overview of the whole thing. And he's certainly been looking at commerce and trade. That's another way of saying, in this case, money laundering. Okay. So behind the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Truth, cutting through the bullshit. You have the 3 of Cups, celebration, especially women, massive celebrations. And the 3 of Pentacles, group work. Obviously, this will be necessary on the other side of it, not only to pursue the legal cases, and let's hope a lot of these fake Christian Republicans are caught up in the legal wangles, but 3, 3 and 3 saying to me 3 months, so July, August, September. I'm going to say September. I'm going to say September. Oh, I'd be thrilled to be wrong if it's any sooner, but I'm seeing September here. We're still not halfway through July, so we've got to count that July, August, September. Oh my God. Also, of course, if it is September, it's going to take some time for the markets to adjust to this absolute bollocking that's going to be unleashed on the Republicans. And that's going to cause a significant wobble, which I've seen and other readers have seen in the stock market around October. This isn't the big one. That's next year as the financials filter through. It won't be as bad as 2008, even next year, but it will dramatically change from here. And that would make sense in the timeline for October market impact. Oh, thank you, Mueller. Light and love, Saint Robert. Okay, guys, see you soon. Got to upload this.